Well, hello, hello, hello. It's Vegas Pauly C.
And this is Slots with Sean, and we're here with a brand new episode for season 3 of the Slots with Sean podcast. My host today is Vegas Pauly C, aka the Casino Comp Wallet, and we're going to do some chit chatting today about our favorite things, the casino. So, before we dive right in, if you want to just give a quick introduction of who you are for folks that may not be familiar.
Okay, well, I'm really nobody, but about a year and a half ago, I had employed somebody to promote my social media. A lot of people know the story. If it comes up, we'll go into it. If it doesn't, that's fine. And I didn't really feel like she was doing her job properly, and I got frustrated. And so one morning, I just decided to go out and go on TikTok Live because I had like 1,000 followers at that point. It was February 1st, 2022, and I went out there. And, at first I remember looking at the screen and I had 2 people. Then I had 3 people. These were the numbers. Then I had 20.
Yeah.
Then I had 200. And then I said, you know what? I could do this. So I went out there and I did it. And I've been broadcasting live on the Strip since February 1st of 2022. And then I realized that the videos will drive traffic to your page if you know how to do them. Unfortunately, and I'm not saying I know now, but unfortunately at the time I had no idea how to do them and I had no editorial style. So that took about a year of bumbling around. And I actually went back and looked because it was so important to my show, it turns out, but none of this was planned. So a lot of people, after I started doing videos where I would end them and I would say Vegas Pauly C at the end, because on April 4th of this year, I went back and I looked for the first time I did a video, and I always felt uncomfortable at the end of my videos. And my videos are very amateurish. I don't know how to do editing. They're my thoughts, they're my emotions, they're a rush of adrenaline when I do them. And I didn't know how to end the videos. So at the end I started going, Vegas Pauly C. I would just end them like that. And from April 4th until maybe May or June or July, the Sphere opened up and I got 5 million views on the Sphere. When I got paid $2,000, I always tell everybody exactly how much money I make. I made $2,000 from that Sphere video. And the more excited I got about doing this, it turned into Vegas Pauly C, simply because I was excited.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting physiological effect that goes on. Because I'm so low dopamine, and I don't know if you know about dopamine, but the reason we're all in Vegas, the reason we're all gambling is to create dopamine, because we're all most gamblers, the vast majority of gamblers are dopamine deficient. So I'm trying to get myself excited and back to normal so that I feel good. So I'm turning my ending into Vegas Pauly C, and I'm stimulating other people. And then next thing you know, I'm walking around Vegas, and as soon as they hear my voice, people Vegas, and they do it to me. They'll say it to me or they want a picture. So all of this was unintentional. None of it was planned. People have to know that. And here we are. And I don't know where it's going. I make about $5,000 a month from social media. I don't have any corporate sponsorship. The one thing that gives me hope, and I've said this before, hope is a great breakfast, but a terrible dinner. The one thing that gives me hope is the people that I'm meeting. Like I'm meeting, I'm not going to be grandiose and I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm not trying to have an ego about it. Feed me, Seymour.
Yeah.
That's what I say when my ego kicks in.
Yeah.
From the Little Shop of Horrors.
Exactly.
Because my ego feels exactly like that plant.
Mm-hmm.
So none of that, but I'm meeting like people that are, very powerful. I have to tell a quick story. It's only going to take 15 seconds. I'm walking by Boulevard on the Strip. It's a brand new development. It's 700 feet on the Strip. It's a shopping plaza. It's got a rooftop situation going on. So I'm walking by Boulevard, and I want to make a video about it because I say, you know what? If I do this video right, it'll get 50,000 views, 75,000 views. I'm going to make $30, and I'm thinking about my 30. I'm like, okay, that'll be good for today. Because the days that I make $25 from TikTok, it's depressing because I'm spending way more than that. But the days I make 300, then I'm like, I'm inspired. So I do the video at Boulevard, and I don't really know how to do it because I don't have the exact facts. A guy contacts me. I'm not going to give you any names because I don't know if he wants his name out there. A guy contacts me. Oh, Vegas Pauly C. I'm such a big fan. Feed me, Seymour. No, I'm sorry, but when I say that, it's like, how do you say that? How do you say that someone contacted you and said that they're a big fan when you're just, I'm nobody? I say, okay, I meet him over at the Wynn on the couch. Somehow Boulevard comes up. This guy whips out his phone. I swear to God, he has all the plans for Boulevard on his phone. He's a part owner.
That's incredible.
You know, when stuff like that happens, I don't know whether it's the universe. So he gave me a bunch of information. I did my Boulevard video. So then I do my Boulevard video, right? Wouldn't you know that the management at Boulevard contacts me and wants me to do a walkthrough of Boulevard? I already did a video of Old Red, and the management contacted me, and I did the video. They want me to do, pre-construction walkthroughs. I did a video of Atomic Golf from outside the fence line, like, I'm nobody. I'm on the sidewalk, right?
Right.
And this video's up there. The management of Atomic Golf says, we like what you did. Come in and do a pre-construction. So now I've done a pre-construction on Atomic Golf, a pre-construction on Old Red, which is an incredible facility. So's Atomic Golf. They're both incredible. And now I'm going to do Boulevard. So I have this friend called the man behind the man, and he adopulated me from the Strip. And he said to me, I love when people give me wisdom. So many people help me so much. But the man behind the man has been crucial. And he said to me, Vegas Pauly C, he said, energy out will be energy in. So in other words, I stood on the curb like a nobody, because I am nobody, and did that video of Atomic Golf. I put all that energy into it. I said, wow, this is so cool. This is a challenged area. I can't believe these people are putting all this money in over here. Fantastic. Management contacted me. Same thing with Old Red. I thought that was a cool. You see where I'm getting with this?
Yeah.
But I don't know any of this. This is all just, I always use this word organic. But so that's my story. I think that is a nice synopsis of my story.
I think you do a really great job at balancing the humility of it, of I'm a nobody, and also the feed me personality. And I think that's what people resonate.
Because I'm two people.
Yeah.
So if you knew me, so genetically, I'm two people. It's like I did my genetics. I know exactly who I am.
Yeah.
So the low dopamine gambler, right? The person who needs to get their dopamine up to normal, he's a raging narcissist. So he's insane, right? So he's a narcissist. I'm acutely aware of this.
Yeah.
I'm also genetically empathetic. There's 7 primary genes for empathy, and they're lit up. So I'm also empathetic. Full disclosure, because I said this morning and I kind of lied on a YouTube. Gene number 4 is a mutation. So that one's not lit. So it's 6 out of 7. This morning I said all of them, but I have a pathetic need to be honest. My 4th empathy gene is not lit up. It's a strange mutation. I don't know what it is. It's called TT. But anyway, so I'm two people jammed together. And it makes sense because my mother was a willing victim, empath, right? And my father was a narcissist. And they were locked in this endless dance. And I'm born with this genetic mutation where I don't create dopamine. It's called CCAATT. And all of that has turned into what's going on right now. And I don't want to speak for other people, but when I tell you that I am a total victim of my genetics, wow. So that's the whole story right there.
That speaks.
So that's why when you hear me say, I'm acutely aware of who I am. Who am I? Yeah. I'm a nerd from the basement. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's not. What do they call that? False humility? What do they call it? I mean, it's just the truth.
My go-to statement is because of who I am as a person. I'm like, I'm going to stick another $30 in, another $100 in because of who I am as a person. So
yeah, but really that's you. That's really just you trying to get your dopamine back to normal. Yeah, that's trying to make you feel okay. Like when I went on they had a help group on Yahoo for the people who have my genetic problem. It's called CCAATT. When I tell you every single person in there was either an alcoholic, on the crack pipe, heroin, suicidal, a lot of suicides. Unfortunately, Yahoo help groups, it was called Double Cat, CCAATT. Unfortunately, Yahoo help groups shut down, and I'm not able to find this. But I see interesting stuff on TikTok, and I see interesting stuff on Instagram. And the other day, someone was talking about methylfolation, which is what I take. I take L-methylfolate to feel better. And they said that, and I kind of knew this because my friend has this too. We did her genetics. 40% of people are not methylating properly and creating the right amount of neurotransmitters.
Wow.
And that's why we're all in the casino. We're all in the casino trying to get our dopamine back to normal because 40% of us have some level of this deficit. And I don't want to be grandiose, but I'm pretty confident that the mutation that I have, the CCAATT, is one of the bigger ones because I'm barely functioning until I do my stuff.
Yeah. So I'm going to circle back for a second. At the start of the video, you talked about you hired someone to run your social media, and then you decided to take it over yourself. I guess I have two questions there. The first is, what were you trying to get out of that social media experience? Was it that dopamine?
Oh, no.
Or
So I have an app called the Comp Wallet.
Yeah.
So the Comp Wallet was an app that would replace, oh God, I can show you very easily. Watch, look at this.
Yeah.
This is this week's casino offers.
Yeah.
This is this week.
That's
okay.
Insane. I only got 3 this week, so I think you got me beat.
All right.
But
So that's a total waste.
Yeah.
Of mail, of printing. I'm trying to develop an app, and it's on hold right now because A, I don't have any more money to put into it, and B, my social media, the tail's kind of wagging the dog. But it's an app that centralizes the distribution of that. And in addition to that, it creates a database. For instance, the Fontainebleau opened up with no database. I met with them. I implored them to not do that. They did it anyway. We'll see what the results are. But it would be a central database that you could also sell. I don't know whether you know this or not, but when the Atlantic Club went out of business in 2011 in Atlantic City, it was split up into 2 parts, the customer database and the real estate. The customer database from the Atlantic Club actually sold for $4 million. That was the value that they placed on it. I don't know how many people were on it, so I don't know the exact metrics. I'm always trying to figure that out. But there's metrics and there's numbers that support my business case for the Comp Wallet. Now, why wasn't I able to execute on it at all? Because I'm coming out of left field. I have no connections in the casino industry. Nobody wants to hear my nonsense. And it's an extremely regulated environment.
Yeah.
So nobody is going to take a chance on a, for lack of a better word, a weirdo coming in the front door. Now, I actually got a meeting with the executive team. How many places? Well, definitely the Stratosphere. And they were very nice. But nobody at the Stratosphere executive team is going to take a chance on some guy coming out of left field. For me, it's a fait accompli. Like, you need this, you should do this. It was especially good for the Stratosphere because they have 1.4 million people walking through the door up to the tower, and they don't know anything about them. They don't sign up for the players. Yeah, they come in and they go out. They told me this. They said they have 1.4 million people come in and go out. So for them, it was a perfect match. They didn't want to know about it. I'm very aggressive business-wise. So I just kept putting money into the thing. At one point, my burn rate, and a lot of people have watched the show from the beginning because I used to talk about this. At one point, my burn rate was $11,000 a month. So I was jamming $11,000 a month into this and getting no revenue and no hope. And, eventually you lose hope. So I had a blowout with the person I was working with. And my social media at that point, my TikTok was up to 70,000 and my Instagram was 42,000. This was in June of 2022. And I took a month off and I didn't touch anything. And I came back and I went hard on the TikTok. And now the TikTok's around 300,000. Yeah. But I left the Instagram alone, dead. Did not post, did not look at, didn't even know how to log in. I left the Instagram dead for 1 year. And I had a company contact me from Europe, and the woman was very adamant that Instagram is very important, and you need to get your Instagram. She said, do you have an Instagram? And I said, I do, but I haven't touched it in a year. It's got 42,000 people. So my big idea, and thank God this woman contacted me from it. She took a big poop on my head, and they're actually exiting the market. It was GeoBet. So this company has 300 employees in New York, in America, and they are the primary internet provider for Mohegan Sun in Pennsylvania. And they're actually laying off all 300 people and leaving the country. I kind of know why. They really don't know what they're doing. So she took a poop on my head, but this was on June 22nd. I know exact dates on everything of this year. But what she did is she made me say to myself, hey, jerk, that's me. When you post on TikTok, just put the same damn video on Instagram. strip off the TikTok watermark, which I got a program that does that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I've been doing. And my Instagram went from 42,000 to 160,000 since
Sure did.
June 22nd.
Mm-hmm. That's
Oh,
incredible.
well, and let me finish up with that on Instagram. So it turns out, and I didn't know any of this, I'm learning every day. It turns out that Instagram is so much more credible than TikTok. And all of my business contacts, in other words, I was in bed with my girlfriend one night and we're watching a movie. And this is exciting for me. I mean, because again, who the hell am I? Win social media contacted me.
Nice.
And I'm like, what? I show my girlfriend, I'm like, look who this is, girlfriend. And she looks at it. And I think at that moment, she kind of changed a little bit. Like she understood that maybe something was going on. Because, I mean, nobody's invites me anywhere because I'm such a divisive figure in the community. But because, I'm critical of casinos. If you don't know what you're doing, I'm probably going to say, you don't know what you're doing. But Wynn invited me, maybe because I really don't ever criticize Wynn because they know exactly what they're doing. I mean, if somebody knows exactly what they're doing.
They're great.
So we went to the Concours Auto Show. And since then, I get a whole bunch of every nightclub. I mean, the president of Tao Group contacted me and he was so nice, such a great guy. And he said, come to Omnia, come to this restaurant, come here, come there. The problem is, I'm going to be 60 years old. Do I really want to be in nightclubs? I never went to nightclubs when I was young. I'm an awkward guy. I'm not Brad Pitt. I'm not going to spend I have no Riz game whatsoever. I don't know how to talk to women. So what am I going to be in nightclubs for? I'm never going to be in nightclubs. So I got to go to a table at Omnia. So it was the first time I've been to a table in my whole life at 59. So that's kind of funny, and again, I got invited next week. I'm going to be at, wow, I don't know, should I be shamelessly plugging myself? January 5th, I got invited to Dre's. So I said, you know what? I like hip hop. I listen to hip hop all the time. So I'm going to go to Dre's on January 5th. I have a taco shop opening on January 2nd, 4440 East Washington, because I got involved with other social media, a social media guy named Jose. Do you know Jose the Taco guy?
El Taco?
Jose the Taco guy. He's got it. Do you know him?
Resorts World, right?
No, he's got like 100 and he's just a guy with 170,000 followers who walks around Vegas.
Oh, yes. Sorry. There's a taco restaurant or a burrito place across from Resorts World that's getting a lot of attention right now online, so it's confusing the two. But
yeah, El Gordo, Tacos El Gordo.
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, our third partner, El Güero, I know, I'm trying to get my Spanish right. So interestingly enough, our third partner, who I named him El Rey de los Tacos.
Yes.
So I named him that. Interestingly, he worked there for 24 years. So he joined us, and it's a lot of fun. The concept is a lot of fun. So opening on January 2nd. So this thing is going in like a million different directions. So all of this is going on. But guess what? Would you like to know the critical problem?
Tell me.
I'm going broke.
That's fair.
I'm spending so much money being Vegas Pauly C, and I'm only getting $5,000. It sounds like a lot of money, but cabs in Vegas now, $40. If I actually, sometimes people see me walking from my house to the strip or from the strip back to the house. It's $40 for a cab from Mandalay Bay to my house. It's like, I'll walk the 6 miles. I'm not even trying to save money per se, but the meter is running. I got my JetBlue credit card yesterday, and I thought it was going to be maybe $2,000. It was $4,000. I took 9 flights back and forth, and my girlfriend. So part of what's interesting about the show is, will I make it? Will I not make it? It's another big, it's kind of like when what's your game of choice?
I'm a slot guy.
Okay. Yeah. It's exactly like you go to the slot machine and you buy in for $500, which I'm just going to guess is a material number to you, right? It's a material number to me. And you say to yourself, am I going to get away from here with some money? Am I going to lose? All of this, my social media career, because it's so risky and so, it's a long shot. All of this is just one more continuation on gambling. But I'll tell you what's fascinating about it. social media and the gamble that is social media. In other words, you put up a video. Did anybody like it? Did anybody not like it? The comments, whatever. It's real physiologically. It is absolute. I can tell you conclusively, it is no different than gambling. I'm getting the same effect from it.
Yep.
So in a way, it's kind of saving me money, I guess. I'm rationalizing so I could be an addict. You know, that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
I'm convincing you of something so that I can continue to be a jerk. So around here, you know, with my girlfriend, it's like, let me just do this for another 6 months. Let me just do this for another 6 months. And the last 6 months, she saw so much progress that now she's like, you got to continue this. So, I mean, she was not that positive the first year because, you know, I'm old, you know, I'm awkward. I'm not exactly ready for social media, but I mean, I'm doing it. I don't know it'll be interesting to come back on January 1st, 2025 and see whether I'm still here or just I retired from it. It'll be interesting to see.
We'll have you back for season 4 to get the update. So
right,
yeah. So you have quite the background. Like I think you are from Long Island, right? And then and you go back there often, or just to Atlantic City, or
I'm on Long Island right now. I have a very expensive house here that I can't afford.
Okay.
And I'm absolutely emotionally torn. You know, first world problems. I can't afford my mansion. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to sit here and complain about it because I'm acutely aware that people can't pay their rent. But poor Vegas Pauly C. He can't afford his mansion, but that's where I'm at. And I'm emotionally attached to it because I built it. I've been here 30 years. And I have nobody to blame but myself because I got this incredible contract and a second opportunity with Google. It's actually 9 years. It's 8 years ago now. And did I make enough money to set me up for life? That's a close call. But the stuff that I did, stupid. I mean, the comp wallet, I'll tell you straight out, I lost $450,000 on the comp wallet. And now I can't afford you know what I mean? And now I can't afford my mansion. So that's one thing. I probably lost another, God knows how much, another several $100,000 in the stock market gambling. You know, I'd be like this is my mentality. I'll buy a stock at 10 o'clock in the morning and I'll say, this is a great stock. I'm going to hold this the rest of my life. It's unbelievable. And it goes up a point and I made $1,000 and it's an hour later, sell. So if you do that, you lose your money in the stock market. And I did that.
It's an instant gratification that you're looking for there.
Immediate gratification. We do that on the show. That's one of the things that there's different people in the show that want me to do different things. So some people, the original thing I used to do was this, and I don't even do it anymore because so many other things have come in. So very early on, I used to do this. Solid. I used to do that. And everybody laughed about that. And then I got tired of it.
Yeah.
So it's funny how you said instant gratification because a couple of months ago, I started going, immediate gratification. And that started becoming a thing. But these are all just, you know, these are my feelings. You know, these are feelings that I have. And I don't know. It's not like I'm even trying to be funny. I'm going through so many ups and downs with my dopamine and my gambling. And I'm all over the place. And people like that, I guess.
I mean, it's attracted quite the audience, you know, 300,000 over on what you said, TikTok, 160 over on
300,000, yeah. I mean, I'm going along, you know. I mean,
yeah.
My favorite thing, though. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Just saying, you're calling yourself every name under the sun. You should be calling yourself, you know, praising yourself a little bit. You know, pat yourself on the back a little.
Well, if I ever make money where I can survive,
fair,
then you're going to have to deal with Seymour. You know what I'm saying? Then Seymour is going to be like, see, I told you. But, you know, I'm not really surviving now, so it's very hard to be a phony. I cannot be, I'm incapable of being a phony. But one of the things that I really enjoy, like this morning, I was totally conflicted. I can't even tell you. I woke up this morning just completely conflicted about this video. And I went to YouTube and I talked it out for 10 minutes on YouTube. just all my feelings, how I was going to handle this video, what I was going to do. I mean, I don't have much of a following on YouTube, only 5,000 people. I started it in August, and it's very hard to grow YouTube.
It's very difficult.
But I really enjoyed like talking for 10 minutes to the people and then coming to my conclusion by sort of talking it out with them, even though, and then I posted and then I felt better. So, I think when you're I think that I really mean this from my heart. I feel like there's so much information, commiseration, empathy. I feel like there's so many positive things for addicts, for gambling addicts on my show. Not to stop. I mean, if you want to stop, there's a guy on TikTok who's excellent. I forgot his name. Do you know the guy on TikTok who?
I can't think of his name either, but he comes up every so often.
Rob Adult or something like that. Look, my advice to everybody is just stop. Just stop. Go away. Forget about it. You're never going to win in the end. But for the people who have to do it and are looking for almost a placebo, if you can use the Vegas Pauly C show to not do it, in other words, like watch me and see my lunacy and see what I'm going through and kind of like get your dopamine that way, as a placebo, I think, and I'm justifying my existence right now. I'm aware of that, and I'm trying to convince you to watch my show, but I'm not saying we're a support group, but, I met these guys, and the guy's a sports gambler. I met this sports gambler, and he was talking about his journey and, the commonality of like, we're all in pain. We're all trying to get, I smoked the marijuana for 8 years to try and get my dopamine right. And it turned on me. I stopped 2.5, 3 years ago. I had to stop because the depression was just paralyzing. Why do we watch television? Why do we go to the movies?
Yeah.
Why do we watch social media? Why do we gamble? Obviously. Why do people drink? These are all attempts to get our dopamine straight. So if I'm on the live, and I usually have about 400 people, 500 people on the TikTok live. If I'm on the live and I'm getting people, and people are in Peoria, Illinois, sitting in their house and they have nothing to do on a Friday night and they tune into the Vegas Pauly C show and they get some enjoyment out of that. I couldn't be happier.
Right. I love that. So going back to your background, you just shared you worked for Google. Were you a programmer? Is that where the app?
No. I'm not on that level. I'm not that smart. And also I have the world's worst ADHD. So for me to program would be impossible. So I always tell people that I'm the dumbest of the smart people. Like when I was in school, I was just barely getting into the better classes. And if you actually look at where I'm at, I really am at the bottom of the smart people. But I have this mutation, and I had every intention, when I was 16 years old. Well, I don't know if I've ever told this before. I may have. I'm not trying not to cry. When I was 16 years old, I looked at myself and I said, "Wow, you're in big trouble. You're in big trouble, dude." I knew I was in big trouble at 16, and by time I turned 20, I was still participating in destructive gambling and not really applying myself in college. In fact, my mother threatened to not pay anymore because my first year of college, I didn't even go to class. I just relied on my intelligence to pass everything. But I came back. I got a C- in chemistry just based on my chemistry knowledge. I never went to a class. And my mother, when I was about to turn 21, she had a friend who was in the payphone business. And my mother came to me, and I always tell this story. This I tell all the time. She said to me, "Do this. This will be good for you." This was my mother. And she lent me $5,000. Sometimes I tell the story she gave it to me, but the truth is she lent it to me because I paid her back later. And she lent me $5,000, and she set me up with her friend Claire, who was a great woman. And I went and I met Claire, and Claire taught me the business. And I said, "Hey, man, this is great." So I ended up with 20 of these things. Now, this is 1987. So get an idea of like the money and whatever. So 1987, $1,000 in 1987 is like $4,000 today. So I was making $1,000 a week while I was in college, doing absolutely nothing except collecting these 20 payphones. And I was happy. So I was taking the $1,000 to the racetrack. I was taking the $1,000 to Atlantic City. I was taking the $1,000 to Touchy Feely. I'm not going to go into that. But I was taking the $1,000 and I was pissing it away. So I grew up in Searingtown, New York, which it turns out is like being born on third base. I always tell people I was born on third base. By the time I was 50, I was such a loser, I got back to at bat. So I was born on third base, and I was born in this community where there was a lot of talent. And my neighbor, my friend from childhood, whose name is Bruce, I always put his name out there, he said to me, Paul, opportunities are rare in life. And you have an opportunity here. You have 20 of these things. I said, yeah. He said, I'm going to quit my job at Price Waterhouse. I'm going to put all of my bar mitzvah money, which was $25,000 into the company. And he did. He put all of his bar mitzvah money. He was already 24. He still had his bar mitzvah money. And his brother, at the most, we owed his brother $300,000. His brother was on Wall Street. So you have to have access to capital. His brother was on Wall Street, and he lent us $300,000 at 24%. We paid him 24% interest. I'll never forget it. And we built the company up to a $6 million company. Now, no accolades from me. The whole time I did work the first 3 years, and then not so much. The whole time I was like kicking and screaming and fighting with him so that I could get high. In other words, just be a jerk, gamble, go to Vegas, do this, do that. So I love to tell this story the exact honest way. He took the company from nothing to $6 million. That's what we sold it for, with me kicking and screaming and being a baby the entire way. I swear to you. And then after he sold it, I went broke for a while. And then I got back on my feet when he bought it back. He bought it back for 10 cents on the dollar. And then I got 3 years out of that. I got to be a baby again for 3 years. And I got to be an obese baby because I was 230 pounds. I was eating. Eating can definitely be a dopaminergic thing. And it didn't really work out with him because, where do payphones go? By 2008, payphones were like, he actually lost some money on that second deal. And then 2015 rolled around and he directed me. Google needed me to run the last 5,000 payphones in New York City. So I got a contract working for Google. I had to make them all cellular, and I was one of the few people who knew how to do that. I saw someone else's design, and I did a modification on it. I had tremendous help like you can't imagine, from a guy named Chris S. I don't know if he wants his last name out there. So I had this employee who was like just the most incredible employee, and all of his boys, who were all 18 and 19 years old, had just come from, shout out to Guyana. They were all Guyanese. Shout out to Guyana. And they were the hardest working guys in the world. So they made the contract so easy for me. So between Chris and his guys, all 18, 19 years old from Guyana, and Google on this side feeding me the money, I put all that together. Now, I was $1.4 million in debt when I got that contract. I got out of debt, and the contract ended due to the pandemic. And I've been going broke ever since. Because social media is only paying me $5,000 a month. And I refuse to, a lot of people know this on the show, I refuse to run around and collect money from people to do videos for them. So if a local business says to me, I'll give you $500 if you come over here and put my show on your, could I use the $500? Yeah, man, I want the $500.
Right.
But here's the problem. As soon as something is phony and bullshit, it can't be Vegas Pauly C. So if I go, I'll give you a perfect example. If I go to the wine bar, I did a video for the wine bar. If I go to the wine bar and she's paying me $500, the nervousness and the duplicity and the insincerity of me getting paid $500 and doing her wine bar means I can't do the video. So I'm not doing this because I'm moral. This is important that you know this. I'm not taking money because I'm moral. I'm not taking money because it's physically impossible for me to be phony. Do you understand? Like, Do you know how good I felt doing a video at the wine bar as a mitzvah, as a gift, as just something, doing something for a local person? I was like, this is great. This local person actually wants me, and I'm going to do this for them as a gift. I'm not going to take any money. I felt good. I did the video. I met with her for half an hour. I had a great experience. Her name's Randy. Fantastic. If she had paid me $500, I would have been sweating the whole time. Did I do a good job? Did the video get enough views? In other words, I would have been a completely different person, and the whole thing would have went. So do you see why I'm explaining this to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not doing this because I'm a good person. I'm doing this because it's physically impossible for me to do it the other way. It's important that you know that.
That's going to be the tag for the show. I'm not doing this because I'm a good person.
But it's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, it's the truth.
Yeah. I appreciate that. So speaking of those, like those companies that reach out to you, those collabs, have any reached out to you after the fact and said, like, here's some cash, like, for doing that video, or like, thanks for, you know, making us look good, or anything like that?
No, nobody said after I've done it for free. I was going to tell you a story, but I'll tell you this. I get tremendous gratitude. And look, when I go to a nightclub, they give me, this is funny because they gave me a nightclub. So when I went to Omnia, they gave me the table right behind the DJ. They gave me a bottle. But at the end of the night, I look at my little girlfriend, Mahi. She's so cute. Her skin was designed by NASA. She can re-enter the atmosphere without burning up. Mahi's treats are all natural. And I say, honey, how much am I supposed to tip? Like, I don't even, honestly, I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars to tip, but how much tip am I going to leave on a table with a bottle? I mean, is the right tip $500? Maybe. Full disclosure, I only left 200. I don't have hundreds, and I'm a gambler, you know, and I am playing blackjack for $500, $1,000 a hand. A lot of people will watch this and they'll go, oh, he's so full of shit. He plays blackjack. There was one hand that had $25,000 on it, which is true. You know, I had 2,500 up. I had to split 4 times and double down twice.
Shit.
But at least I have a chance to win that. You know, like I'm running. In other words, I'm not an influencer, but whatever I am, it's costing me money to be this. So I left a $200 tip, you know, cab there, cab back, whatever. I did get drunk, you know, they gave me a free bottle. So, you know, for me to spend $300, it hurts. It hurts because I rented a place out in Vegas, and I'm not complaining, but what I'm trying to tell you is that not only do I not make money doing this, it costs me money, but I'm doing it because it's feeding Seymour. That's why I'm doing it. It's feeding Seymour on a level. Seymour's never had this. Seymour has never been fed like this. So how am I going to stop?
It's fair. It's fair. You mentioned influencers, so I'm going to bring it up. There's quite a few Vegas influencers that are always on my For You page, and I think you're currently beefing with a couple of them.
Well, no, not a couple. So just one.
Just the one.
So I get along great with Jose the Taco Guy. He's got it.
He's got it.
I love him. We're business partners. I love Lydia. She's, you know, I liked Lydia, but then I met Lydia, and then I really like Lydia.
Okay.
Because when I only watched Lydia, and I didn't really have interaction with her, I had no idea she had so much personality in person. So I love Lydia. I don't think that Vital Vegas is a fan of mine, but I don't care. I love him. I think he's fantastic. I get so many ideas from Vital Vegas. Shout out to Vital Vegas. I'm using all your ideas, girlfriend. But I say it in the video. I say, look, this came from Vital Vegas. Obviously, I love the Las Vegas Review Journal, but that's not him. There's just one person who used to work for me. And then of all people, and I'm not going to say his name. You can say his name if you want. Of all people, Mr. Irrelevant jumps into the fray. So Mr. Irrelevant had been contacting me for 6 months. So when Mr. Irrelevant first contacted me, I said to my girlfriend, Mahi, I said, look, this famous guy from the 2007s, the 2008s, he's contacting me. He says he really likes my videos, honey. Isn't that the greatest thing in the world, mommy? Mahi. You see, that's where her name came from. It was Mommy, became Mahi. She says to me, What are you talking about? That's a fake account. That's not even him. That's some
Mm.
guy in Las Vegas, whatever. I go, yeah, you're right, honey. Why would he contact me? He's so famous. He's so powerful. He's such a great guy. And, I became crestfallen and I went to sleep. I forgot about it. But for the next 4 or 5 months, every time I do a video that he found interesting, he would tag me on his page. And then it would automatically go to me on Instagram. And I would say, and I did a video on this. The video's on my TikTok if you want to watch it. I would say, thank you.
Yeah.
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 Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I must have said thank you to Mr. Irrelevant 25 times. You can see the video on my page. And then all of a sudden, he does his research because he's such a genius.
Mm.
And he figures out that Paul Contino from Westerly, Connecticut, completely different Paul Contino, got arrested for moving around player points at Foxwoods. Now, I knew this story, of course, because I follow casinos like a crazy man.
Mm-hmm.
And I laughed 15 years ago when a guy with the exact same name as me got arrested in Connecticut for moving points around.
Yeah.
But Mr. Irrelevant just gets that emotional. No, he's looking to get high also. So what Mr. Irrelevant doesn't know about himself, shout out to Mr. Irrelevant. I hope he watches this. You're dopamine deficient, Mr. Irrelevant,
Mm.
and you're getting high by doing this, but you rushed too quick to put up that video because that wasn't me. So he realized about an hour in. So I don't need another addict in my life. And he is extremely toxic.
Mm.
So I'm not dealing with Mr. Irrelevant. I'm not beefing with Mr. Irrelevant. There's a thing in narcissism. Here's more advice. I got so much old man advice for the young people today. There's a thing called gray rock. So when you're dealing with a toxic narcissist, you gray rock them.
Mm.
I don't want anything to do with the guy.
Mm.
Now, the other one is a horror show. And you have to go to my YouTube to see my videos. But the bottom line is we had a business deal. It went bad because I did a couple of stupid things from a place of innocence. Nobody wants to hear this. Everybody thinks I'm a scammer. She made it look like in her synopsis of my existence, she made it look like I'm the biggest phony scammer, liar, criminal in the world. And then after she threw me under the bus, my rage is real. Everything that she shows after the deal fell apart is true, largely true, or she skewed it. Or yeah, I was full of rage, girlfriend. Yeah, I sent those nasty texts to you. Yes, no threats, just like rage, But she's looking to take me down because I'm constantly it's a fait accompli for me that she's just a total phony. It's a fait accompli for me that she's a Karen. It's a fait accompli for me that she is a shill, a liar. Like, I know all this for a fact. And she's out there lying and shilling and scamming and misrepresenting all of Vegas all the time. So am I supposed to not address that? I can't help myself. So that's the only beef that I have, really. I mean, and if I want everybody in as a final comment on that.
Yeah.
I want everybody to look at my career and my life and how I'm acting and my business relationships in Vegas and what I'm doing, and then look at her life and who she's interacting with and her business relationships and what her videos look like and what my video. I want everybody to juxtapose the two. And at that point, I do believe that 22% of the people will immediately feel revulsion towards me and will go to her. And if you can actually figure out that 22% and why that exists, you've done the research that Vegas Pauly C has done. Now, there's another 20-30% that could go either way. But my hardcore base is not going anywhere because they know that I'm 1 billion% real.
Now, as soon as they hear that hello, 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 they're in. They're hooked.
Yeah, but I'm not even trying to hook them. I mean, when I do a video, I'm not doing again, it goes back to like the wine bar. I'm not doing a video if I'm not excited about the topic. I'm not doing a video if I don't find it extremely interesting. I'm not doing a video if it's not a great deal. Like when I do food, and I will do food, it's got to be unbelievable and it's got to be cheap. Because I cannot advise the general public, of which I include myself, to spend $400, $500, $600 on a meal. I can't, with tip and with tax. No,
No.
no,
Mm-mm.
no. Can I show it as like I enjoyed it because it was comped, or I enjoyed it because I just won $10,000? Yes, but I don't advise you to buy. I'll give you a perfect example. God, I sound like my father. I'll give you a perfect example. There's a Mediterranean food place at the Palazzo when you go down the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
They have the world's best chicken. I've never had chicken that tastes like this in my entire life. You can put it on a pita. You can get it with other things. They have a deconstructed chicken. They have a chicken that's called sac de coe. They have all these chickens. $21, $18, $22. There's enough chicken there for two people if you're not a gavone. The way I eat, because I got to stay skinny because I need my energy. There's enough food there for two people. So a drink and the best chicken you've ever had in your life, $12, $13. You don't have to tip because it's Mediterranean street food. You take it from there and you eat it in the corner. When I saw that you could eat the best chicken in America today for $13 with a drink on the strip, well, hello. You understand where it's coming from?
Absolutely.
Now, they didn't pay me. They did not pay me. They didn't even know I was there. They didn't even know I was doing a video. I showed up 3 days later, and what do you think happened? What did they do 3 days later?
Here's your meal.
Feed me, Seymour. 3 days later, when I showed up there, very quiet, very small. Let me get my chicken and let me get out of here. They fed Seymour. You're that guy. We were busy already, but you came here. Everybody talks about you when they come here. And Seymour is going like, ah. So I got my payoff.
Yeah. Well, now you know how Keith Lee feels, probably.
Right. Yeah. He's unbelievable. I can talk about Keith. Keith is unbelievable. And I am going to very quickly say this about Keith. Keith gets abused so much, but because he was an MMA fighter and because he's already trained to get punched in the face and punched in the groin and whatnot.
No idea.
He's like, you didn't know he was an MMA fighter?
I know nothing about
yeah. That's a big reason why he's successful.
You
need the physical before you can do the mental. And he's got the physical. And so, did you see Keith Lee goes to Atlanta?
Yes.
Do you see the abuse that he took?
It was embarrassing for them.
Okay. But do you notice he never broke stride?
No, not at all.
Okay. Because his emotional quotient is so high from being an MMA fighter. He's basically like a Navy SEAL.
Admirable. You talked a little bit about like technology in Vegas. Where do you think that we're heading? Where do you think that we're kind of going?
Well, what's going on in Vegas, and I'm very confident in what I'm about to say to you. They're using technology to monetize every part of your trip from the minute you get off the plane until the minute you go home. I don't believe in it. I think it's a huge mistake. I think that the casino business, the high rollers, and I consider anybody gambling more than $10,000 a high roller. I know a $10,000 player is not a high roller anymore, but in my books it is. So anybody who's willing to go to Vegas and risk $10,000 or more dollars should not be subjected to a technological evaluation. It shouldn't all be technology. And I think that was one of the mistakes. And actually, I was told this by a casino executive. So this is not my thought. I'm going to quote a casino executive. He said the mistake that they made at Resorts World was they thought that technology was going to replace people, and it didn't work out for them. And, that goes back to the Wynn. The Wynn just knows how to handle people.
They sure do.
They know how to interact.
There's no one ever angry or upset. There's no one. They're not going to give you everything that you ask for, but they're going to tell you no with kindness.
But they know how to tell you no and make you feel okay about it.
Exactly.
That is, that they got it. They got it on a level and that's the key. And, there's a new property that opened up, about the Fontainebleau in Vegas. Wow. So the water video, the $67 water and coffee?
Yeah.
Okay. That has been sent to me 100 times plus. Everybody in Vegas who thinks about Vegas Pauly C says, let me send Paul that water video. How much damage did that do? Can you even place it? Let me ask you a question, because you're probably a numbers guy because you're a gambler. Do you think that did $10 million in damage to them?
Oh, likely.
Can I get a great deal? Can I get a great comp? Are these slots loose? Are these slots tight? What are the blackjack rules? 3 zeros on roulette? Really? We want 1 0. Like, as gamblers, look, I don't want to talk out of turn, and I don't want to talk for all gamblers, but most gamblers have suffered somewhat in life, and most gamblers are not the beautiful people. We're not like, if you think of gamblers, right? You take the group of gamblers. Here are gamblers. Here are the beautiful people. I don't want to talk for all gamblers, but in general, we're not the beautiful people. So how do you put together, although, you're a cute looking guy.
Oh, thank you, Pauly.
How do you put together the gamblers and the beautiful people? You can't. You cannot. The win does it. They massage everybody. They make everybody feel good. But the win doesn't say to you, you have to be beautiful to come over here. The win doesn't say to you, we're so great. You should be so thankful to be over here. The win does it because Steve was a genius at this. Steve knew how to make everybody feel okay. Even his voice. I used to listen to the conference calls from the win before they threw him out. And I'd be like, God, even his voice just makes me feel like I want to go over there and lose my money to him. I tell everybody this, I've lost $300,000 at the win.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about it, but that's the truth.
We got a good time and you felt taken care of.
I feel good about it.
Yeah. No, I was resistant to win Encore for a really long time. I felt, because I'm not a dress up kind of guy. I don't like to, I feel like an imposter or a poser when I put on nice clothes. Like, that's just not who I am.
That's us as gamblers, though. Isn't that us as gamblers?
Yeah, it can be.
It can be.
So I was so resistant, and then I went one day and I was like, oh, like, there are average looking people here. I can be here. Like, no one's looking like, sure, that person might have like a Gucci belt on or Versace little carry bag, like whatever, but like, people are in flip flops and they're bathing suits. Like, no one cares. It's Vegas. They're drunk anyway.
Right. You feel welcomed. I'm the same way. Like, I go to the win and I'm like, my first thought when I go in the door is, I don't belong here. These people are way too wealthy. The table minimums are way too high. In fact, I haven't gambled at the win. Well, I put $100 in a slot machine the other night, but I haven't gambled at the win since April. I took $4,000 out of my pocket. I lost it in 12 minutes at blackjack, and I said, you know what? I love them. But I mean, I'm 59 now, but let's just say when I was 35, right? And you said, Paul, I'm going to set you up in Miss Universe. I want you to take her out. No. It's just not something that is me. So, but the win somehow makes you feel okay with going out with Miss Universe. Somehow they make it like, you know what, Vegas Pauly C, you know what, you're not so, you come over here. It's okay. Yeah. They're just so, and you know what's absolutely fascinating? This blows my mind. This is going to blow your mind. The one place, and I mean this from my soul, who's the one casino and hotel that in Las Vegas that does not in any way, shape, or form need Vegas Pauly C? Who?
The win.
Right. Who's the only person who's inviting me all the time?
Yeah. I mean,
what is that?
That speaks to their credibility, and like,
I can't figure it out. It's like, you're inviting me again? They invited me for New Year's.
And you're going, right?
Yeah. They're like, oh, you can see the chain smokers. We'll take care of you. They invited me to a football game. I've never been to a stadium club, situation like at the football game. And what happened at the football game? The win executives were talking to me. Some other people saw me. They wanted me to go on their podcast. Someone saw me on their podcast. Some really expensive real estate development in Vegas contacted me. Like, everything good is dropping off of the win tree, and people think I'm paid by the win. I'm not paid. Nobody's paying me, but I'm just so honored. They gave me a room. I got 2 million views on a basic room at the win because I was so, but you know why I got 2 million views? Can you even understand? Because I was so honored. And I was cavelling in the video because I'm not even here as a player. You're going to give me a room because of my personality. I could cry if I think about it hard enough. I'm serious.
it's a humbling moment because they're not comping you because of your play. They're comping you because of who you are and that they want people like you around them. That's a compliment.
Seymour was dying over there. Let me just, yeah.
Oh man. So you started talking about the technology, about the monetization of people as they get off the plane to the resort while they're at the resort. If that is not the future of Vegas, what is, in Vegas Pauly C's mind, the future of Vegas in terms of technology?
I think that the next void that's going to be filled where they're going to do the next projects, I think that after Resorts World and the Fontainebleau, people are going to realize that $4 billion with the operating costs and the interest, it just doesn't work. I think that, well, this is a whole nother conversation, but I honestly believe that you should not be able to own more than 4 properties in Las Vegas. Like, I think MGM and Caesars should be limited to 4 mega resorts. And I think the future of Vegas is, and I am talking out of my ass, out of my tuchus. I think the future is $600-700 million resorts where they really take care of you. I think that's the future. I don't think that the mega resort cookie cutter, everybody's a number concept is going to, I don't think it works. I think that they're showing that it doesn't work. I think that the fertile void is smaller properties, $500-600 million. And, I said this to somebody, casino executive. I got right in their face because I do that sometimes. I get heated. I say, who's the star of the casino? Who's the star? Do you know who the stars are? And he just looks at me and he goes, I said, the casino executives, the casino hosts who handle the players are the stars. If I was building a casino hotel, and I really mean this, the first thing I would do is find 20 of the most, and Steve used to call them gorgeous personalities. That's what he called them. He called them gorgeous personalities. I would find 20 of the most talented givers, lovers, for lack of a better word, social, people that reach into your soul. Like they have some of these at the Wynn who will take a $10,000 or $15,000 player and make them feel like a superstar. And there's a guy in Vegas. I'm not going to put out a name because I just don't feel comfortable. He has 75 players that he runs around with, and they lose. And I'm talking, I don't know, but I think his players probably lose $7 or $8 million a year. And he's a freelancer. He goes here, he goes there, whatever. What is that guy worth? So his players lose $8 million, right? He takes care of them because he's very involved with his players. You net $5 million from that after comps because, you give away 40% in comps. What is he worth? To me, he's worth at least $600,000 or $700,000 a year because he's bringing in $5 million in profit, right?
Yeah.
Do you think anybody's making him those offers? They're stupid.
No.
So I met with a higher up. I feel like such a jerk telling this story because I was just really making myself laugh when I did this. And I said, hey, did you see Moneyball? And he goes, yeah, I saw Moneyball. I said, you remember when Jonah Hill was in the elevator, was in the parking garage with Brad Pitt? He goes, yeah, I remember when Jonah Hill was in the parking garage with Brad Pitt. I said, you remember what he said to him? I said, your job should not be to buy players, right? Do you remember that whole speech? Well, that's the mistake that Vegas is making. Their job should not be to buy players. Their job should be to go out into the environment and to make a welcoming, loving experience for everybody. And then the players will come to them. But I love saying to that casino executive, your job shouldn't be to buy players. You know what I mean? It's like, there's no love.
Love.
The Vegas Strip has become the no love zone. And it's going to come back to bite them. We have a recession. Nobody's going to go, like you go to your local casino, right? Or I go to my whatever. You're going to have a better experience because you're going to, they know you, they know who you are. They're giving you offers every week. Nobody's going to go to Vegas if they continue on this no love path. Nobody. I know it sounds hokey.
We're at our hour, so I want to be mindful of your time. But I thank you so much for joining me today, Pauly. And I think it would be great to end the video with your outing there.
Okay, I will.
So, ready?
Vegas Pauly C.